Just checking. Please get in the chat. We want all your heat.
All of it.
All of it. Warn it or not, we'll fucking let you know. Okay? Oh, shit, I forgot my gum.
That's definitely what's needed.
You know what else is needed?
Shotgunning beers.
Another lady coming out for Tyreek Hill's paternity suit. Just turned the cheetah into a purring kitten.
Right. Why I decided to wear a long sleeve under this.
I got the window open.
I know. I'll be fine.
Should be cool in here. Never is. But
I don't know. Do we want to wait till we get some
we have
watchers
great
in
intentions. Let's do it.
Go ahead and rip off the
Let's
video.
rip it off, man.
Hey, that was not a playoff game. But that sure as hell felt like a playoff game. And that's our season from here on out. That's our season. That's this journey that we talked about last night. That's what it is. Okay? What I saw was guys that were fighting off for each other. That's what I saw. Okay? Defensively, 4 takeaways. And the kid with 2 of them,
Blessings, 1-0, man. Good day, y'all boys, man. I'm proud how we played. Chicago next week. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 2-3. Okay. Hey, we need all 3 sides of the ball, right? The dude comes in, ice in his veins, 55 yards, no doubt about it. Let's go!
Hey, that's what good teams do right there. Stick together, fight adversity.
Hell yeah.
It's not always going to go our way, but who's going to fight the longest, the toughest? That's us.
Okay, then offensively, it wasn't always perfect. We don't have to be perfect. We're looking for our best, but we don't have to be perfect. All right, but 3 for 3 on 4th down is pretty damn good. All right, that's the story of the game right there.
Coach is right, man. You know, it was not pretty today, and I was not my best, but these are what makes teams, these tough games. You know, you guys earn the right all year to play December football, and that's what we're doing right now, and that's what it looks like sometimes. And then January and February, this is what it's going to be, and to have the mental toughness to come through in those types of games, that's what winter's made of. So, you know, hey, bring these games on. It's just going to make us better in the long run. I appreciate you guys having me, man. I feel like a 10-year-old kid out there.
We're back.
Welcome to the RawDawgers Sportscast Live, episode number 50.
50.
I'm Sean Watson,
I'm Ron Kessler.
and we're here to give opinions on everything football, especially Browns football and whatnot. But
What may have you?
going back to that video that we started the show off with, though, who's all in right now with Kevin Stefanski? I know this guy is. At this point, you have to be, right? Four quarterbacks in since the 50s in a single season for the Browns.
For the NFL, it's only happened, I think, like 12 times.
One of them was the Browns, though, wasn't it? Back in the 50s or something? Or
I don't think so.
no? Okay, well, I already misquoted myself. Perfect. All right, well, fuck me. Anyway, please get in the chat. We would love to absolutely get all of your heat. Going to start off. We should probably just start off with the Jags-Browns last Sunday. Initial thoughts, Ryan?
Probably the longest game I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Was a lot closer than it needed to be. I think if you watch that game from the jump, we dominated it. You know,
Absolutely.
Jacksonville offensively, you know, if we didn't give them the ball on our side of the field twice, that game isn't as close. But in saying that, you know, one was a Mari Cooper fumble, which is uncharacteristic. I mean,
Absolutely.
he caught that. He had room to run. Guy just hit the ball as soon as he was switching arms.
Great defensive play on,
Yeah, it was good.
on them.
Just kind of like when Walker hit that ball
Yes.
for us to get that score
Sure.
on their side of the field. So it was a sloppy game, but at the same time, it was, definitely Flacco's best game as a Brown. I know he's only played 2 games. But I think even when we watched it last week, or, the Rams game, you could tell that, offensively we had something.
Yes.
They were hitting shots down the field. Really love seeing Njoku get involved. I think when we signed him, you got a 6'6" quarterback now. He can see the middle of the field. The tight end's going to be a little bit more involved, which, the drops weren't present
as much.
Yeah.
Still leading the league in drops, though, right? Or we've got to be close.
And they're definitely leading in drop percentage.
Okay. And as far as the turnover differential, that's the problem. I think even if you do get to the playoffs here, which I'm not gonna jinx it, but when you get to the playoffs and you're not going to be able to turn the ball over and still hope to win.
No, and this I've said pretty much every week, 1 or less. Mm-hmm. You can live with 1 with your defense, especially. And I was listening to some Chris Sims this week. And Florio, if you can stop the run decently, especially if you jump out to a lead, mm-hmm. and you make the other team against this defense, even with the injuries that have been sustained in the with our safety room and Maurice Hurst being out for the rest of the year, you're not going to be able to throw the ball 40 times, 50 times against this defense and have a lot of success.
Right.
You're going to have pressure, whether it's from Miles, Adarius, up the middle, JOK. Sucks Grant's out now as well. He was a really good blitzer.
Yeah, let's get into some of those injuries too. I mean, what just recently what we've lost this week. So Hurst, Delpit.
I actually have a little thing for that.
Okay. You got a graphic?
Yeah. And this isn't all of our injuries, but kind of for, what's happened the last couple of weeks. Juan Thornhill was a late scratch on Sunday. He will be out this Sunday. Posick will be out. Obo and Jordan Kunasik, I believe.
Kunasik's definitely out. I saw.
Oh, and I believe they're both out for the year.
Okay, Kunasik is too. I didn't see him go on the IR, but
I could be wrong on that then.
Ankarank.
But I know he's missed multiple games already. He's a special teams ace and can play 10, 15 snaps out there on defense. Elliott, who's been a bright spot, who I didn't think was going to make the roster. He's questionable. Denzel's questionable again. I think they're leaning towards him playing. And, of course, conveniently, Anthony Walker tweaked something in practice on today. And
Perfect.
Right. So, and I've always really liked Anthony Walker. And I think when it comes to the run defense, getting people lined up for the run fits, I think he's a big part of that. Now you're going up against Chicago, who isn't really like a traditional running team.
Right.
So maybe that, will cushion that blow a little bit if he can't go. But yeah, just injuries piling up. But at that same token, we got Footsteps Flacco out there playing well.
Footsteps Flacco.
Even though everybody needs to pump the brakes a little bit on it. That was against a team that is not good against the pass. They were out their 2 starting corners. There were busted coverages out there. But with that saying, I think he was throwing good balls. Not really putting, the one interception was a rub route, and he threw it, and the guy got hit,
Right.
He honestly should have, on that type of pick route, I don't know. Amari had that on the outside, but I'm not going to harp on him for that throw. It wasn't like the interception against the Rams at the end of the game.
Right.
That one was pretty bad. But I think he was putting the ball where he needed to. I think him and Amari have a pretty good connection.
I worry about this, not to interrupt you, but I worry about this a little bit. I worry about Flacco down the stretch. I worry about Flacco in the playoffs. There's a reason, everybody's talking about, why didn't the Jets retain him last year? Did maybe Flacco didn't want to stick around knowing that, he's going to get edged out by talks with Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson,
they
still kind of in the building.
When you pick a guy number 2 overall, you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt over a 38-year-old.
And, the fact that Flacco was just sitting there, I think this is a big important thing too. You know, Flacco doesn't want the money. He got paid a huge contract with Baltimore. We're going to get into contract signing with Flacco, but he doesn't want the money at this point. No. And that video right there should have showed that to you. There's other videos there. The guy basically coming out at the end of the game, saying that he felt like a 10-year-old again, playing backyard football. And maybe the guy knowing that he didn't want to, knowing that he didn't want to stay with the Jets, he wanted to go ahead and be a guy that could get in, you know, take a team. And how great would it be to meet Baltimore in the playoffs, and Flacco, knowing that, you know, they moved on from Flacco for Lamar Jackson. Not that they shouldn't have, but going back also to the whole Flacco thing and the deal with in the Rams game. I think sometimes Flacco takes shots where he shouldn't take shots, even though he does throw a beautiful ball. You know, all the wide receivers, Njoku included, have talked about, you know, how he can just put it on the money. But I also worry about him saying, I think I can still fit it in there, you know, and that's where he was getting in trouble with Baltimore a little bit too. Although I still am going to die on this soapbox, saying that I don't know if you really traded something good with Lamar Jackson, who I still feel is not an accurate thrower of the football.
Well, Lamar saved that season and Harbaugh's job, if you remember correctly.
He did. That's true.
Well, and one, because, you know, offensively, and when Flacco was good in Baltimore, Gary Kubiak was the offense coordinator.
Yes.
Who did Stefanski learn under? Gary Kubiak.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot of familiarity in what they're doing. This is Stefanski's traditional offense that he was running in Minnesota, what he did here with Baker. And a lot of the concepts are still the same that we were doing with Deshaun. You know, people want to, but, you know, there's more shotgun, of course, now. Spread. But a lot of the concepts are still the same. They're still doing play action. He's actually, you know, doing RPOs. There's a lot of he's not the threat of a run, but he's making a read. If it's there, throw it. If it's not, hand it off.
Do you worry about Flacco, though, in that element? When you get to that playoff scenario, and
I think I worry more about the tackles.
Okay.
I think, you know, you're talking about the deep balls. I think he's throwing a lot of those. They're basically nothing's there.
The air yards are through the roof.
Well, yeah, like nothing's there. I'm going to chuck it. If we get it, we don't. But I'm going to put it in a place where only my guy can get it.
Yeah, which is smart.
Right.
But when it comes down to desperation,
he's not holding on the ball too long.
And it comes down to, you know, Flacco making that winning drive that you need. Mm-hmm. My worry is Flacco going to try to force something because he thinks that he's old Joe Flacco and he does something dumb.
And the one thing, especially with the modern NFL right now, that's why you want a quarterback that is more mobile than, you know, because defenses can plan accordingly, especially, you know, if it's fourth quarter, there's a minute and a half left, you got a timeout. What's he going to do? Well, he's not going to scramble for 12 yards.
Right.
So, you know, that was, like, if you go back and watch when we beat Baltimore, Deshaun used his legs and his arm to get us down the field to hit that field goal.
Yeah.
You know, and that gives you an edge when you're talking about fourth quarter stuff. But, you know, Flacco's got a history of being able to be clutch in the playoffs. You know, he went on a run.
That's true. That's true.
Went on a run when they won the Super Bowl and played 3 games on the road.
Lights out.
I think it was 12 touchdowns, no interceptions.
The Niners, right?
Oh, yeah, lights out, yeah. Yeah. So, I'm not as worried. You know, we're in a weird situation here because we're 8-5. You know, the division's still very viable. I mean, you're going to have to win out, which, you know, we could win every game, we could lose every game. That's where this team's at just because of all the injuries.
Right.
But I think just the belief in the locker room, and you really do still have your key pieces. At least, you know, if Denzel doesn't play this week, he's not going to be out for an extended period of time. You have Denzel, you have Miles, you have Za'Darius, you have the starting core on that defensive line. You have the interior of the offensive line. You have Amari Cooper. You have Moore. And David Njoku has turned out to be an Iron Man.
Yes.
And he's playing the best football of his career right now, even though he's had some drop issues this year.
Quite a few drops.
I think that's just something that I think is going to come with him. But, playing more and more with Flacco, I think that's going to be something that's more something in the past. I mean, hell, they've had 4 different quarterbacks play. That's 4 different types of balls coming at you, trying to get timing down and all that good stuff.
The chemistry is definitely something to be said.
The way Flacco's come in and really picked up the offense, and they don't look like they're stuck in having to do one certain thing. They've done a lot of good things out of shotgun. They've got he's really good at it, play action under center. Offensively, it's literally like Jacoby Brissett being here again.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to be more than capable through the air, but Jacoby Brissett had Nick Chubb.
Correct.
And if we can't start to run the football a little bit better, it's going to be a challenge.
And that's going to be tough going forward just because of all the injuries we've sustained. We talked about the defensive side of the ball. The offensive line, and just this week they went ahead and signed somebody to the practice squad, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't lose another tackle.
Yeah.
You can't. And you don't really have they're quasi-starting level tackles right now.
Right.
I mean, we signed our left tackle off of
Anthony
practice
Munoz
squad.
doing anything?
Yeah, Joe Thomas.
Joe Thomas, right?
And I like Hudson on the right side. He's a good run blocker. He's still developing his pass blocker. I think it makes it a little bit easier knowing that you have a statue back there.
I worry about Postage too. Because because with the ball starting there, I'm sure that they've done quite a few more reps.
Nick Harris is a quality backup.
Yes, and he had that injury at the beginning of last season. Mm-hmm. It would have been his job. The Browns went out and got Postage from Seattle.
Yeah.
So,
and I trust Bill Callahan to, make them ready. I don't think they're going to be, the days of 2020 us having the best offensive line in football are. For this year is definitely over. I think, next year you have DeJuan Jones that's going to plug in there. Who knows what happens with Jed Wills.
And the hell of a year that rookie's having, too. I mean, DeJuan Jones,
he was literally
to see it.
A Pro Bowler, if not second-team All-Pro right tackle.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the best in the league. But, it's just – this is just one of those seasons where just enjoy the ride. I've said it all year. We keep winning these games. We beat – everybody thinks the 49ers are the best team in football right now. We beat them with P.J. Walker.
Right.
We beat the Colts. They have so many tiebreakers against basically everybody but Denver right now. Because I don't think Pittsburgh might win one more game.
Right.
And
what's the
hopefully it's against Baltimore.
Yeah. What's the remaining schedule? Well, getting back to Baltimore, of course, Baltimore is now the number 1 seed after what happened. Last weekend, I was watching the tail end of that game. The Rams took them to overtime, and I sent you the video over. I said, "How is that not a block in the back on that punt return for a touchdown?"
There's a block in the back and a blatant holding. I've seen Ravens fans even point that out.
Yeah, that's definitely a block in the
so
back.
So everybody's like, "Oh, we lost to the Rams." Yeah, the Rams are pretty solid.
Yeah, they are.
If I was in the NFC, I wouldn't want to see them in the playoffs.
And that was the Rams on the road too. That was a West Coast team coming all the way east to Baltimore.
Right.
Of course, the other thing is too. So now there's how many? Is there? There's at least I think there's 4 7-6 teams now in the AFC.
There's 5.
5? Is there 5?
There might even be.
The Browns sitting at 8-5, but I think there's 4. You could be right. There could be 5 7-6 teams sitting there, just licking their chops.
Yeah, okay. So there's Steelers, Bengals. There's 2. Then you have the Bills 3, Broncos 4. Yeah, Colts, Texans. So there's 6. 7.
There's 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And we have tiebreakers over Colts, Jaguars, which I don't think we'll need that. We play the Texans. Hopefully, I love CJ, but hopefully he's out next week. Bills, I know we have the tiebreaker just on AFC opponents. And with the Steelers, We would technically not have a tiebreaker with them if they beat Baltimore. But I do not see them winning more than one more game this year. So and Cincinnati, Cincinnati's going to have to win out, and we'll have to finish a game under them.
It's going to make that last game of the season at the Chili Bowl.
Yeah,
definitely interesting though. I mean, Browning really looking like he's coming into his own there in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
The guy could
have saved $275 million to switching.
Oh
to
yeah, that's perfect.
But he's been lighting it up.
He has. I mean, Browning out of Washington.
I think he's got like a 79% completion percentage.
Yeah, and now he's they're starting to do things in Cincinnati where Browning's hitting Jamar Chase. Mixon's still doing his thing there, and it's opening shit up for them.
They look like a better offense.
Yeah.
Since Joe went down, and that's against.
I'm not going to go that far, but
this year.
Okay. All right.
I mean, they were up and down all year with Joe.
They were.
Again, it's only 2 games. Hell, he could fall flat on his face.
And he could, and I think Cincinnati plays Minnesota this week at Cincinnati.
Who's Minnesota playing at quarterback?
Minnesota.
Because, and Josh Dobbs is now the 3rd quarterback for emergency. Because, oh no, we traded away Josh Dobbs.
Right. Let's get into okay. All right, stop. All right, let's get into this Browns game a little bit. Of course, we know the injuries on our side of the ball. Injuries on their side of the ball, though. So Montez Sweat's in on the defensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, they already signed Montez Sweat to an extension. With that trade with Washington, their pro corner. That everybody thought that they may, the pro young corner, that everybody thought that they were going to go ahead and, I'm trying to remember the guy's name, Jalen.
Oh, yeah. He's like the best corner in football.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely, he's still there.
They've actually been a really good defense in the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, and they stuck it to Detroit last week. But
luckily, Ngakwe's out, so you're going to have at least, you would think, you can help on whatever side Sweat's on.
Yeah.
You can give him a double, triple team. Maybe hold the fuck out of him like they do Myles Garrett. See if they can get away with it.
Do you see a lot of sets possibly just because of our offensive line where Kareem Hunt may be, because he is a good blocker?
Well, and
just to give them some added security there.
Well, and I think Njoku is one of the best pass blocking, run blocking tight ends in the league.
Okay.
So I don't know if you're going to see more Kareem Hunt than normal. I think he's probably going to get the normal share.
Okay.
I do think you're going to see a little bit more Pierre Strong because I think Jerome Ford's a little banged up still.
Okay.
But I think your offensive game plan is going to look the same, and people are going to say, why are you not running the ball? Well, probably because they're not going to be able to run it very effectively.
Okay.
Joe's going to have to put a lot of it on his shoulder, and you're going to have to take care of the football. So hopefully you can start to see them run the ball.
That differential that we're talking about, the turnover differential.
Yeah.
If we can just start seeing a decline in that. I know you're saying, don't turn the football over, don't turn it over, which we won the differential this last week by 1.
Yeah.
But still, when you have 3
4 turnovers.
But when you have 3 in a game, that's not good.
No.
Okay. And so you're turning the ball over a lot. Luckily, Jacksonville turned it over one more time than we did. But just like you said, they got it down and they were able to score late. Or they were able to score some points they probably shouldn't have got. So when you go into the playoffs, though, you're not going to have that luxury of doing that. Because who knows right now if the Browns make the playoffs. Let's just say that we come with a wild card. We're still hoping for a division win. And Baltimore has a tough schedule still. Are they at the Niners this week? I can't remember. Or they have the 49ers. I know they have the 49ers in there. They have Miami in there, and I think they end the season with the Steelers, I believe. Definitely.
Oh, they got the Jaguars on the road.
Oh, Jaguars on the road.
That's is that Thursday night? It looks like Thursday. Yeah, because it's December 17th. Or wait, no, that's Monday night. Yeah, that's Monday
This
night.
coming Monday night. Must
No,
win.
it's
right?
Sunday night, 8:20. That's Sunday night.
Okay, so kind of
then-
a must win
then I
there
think
for
they-
the Jags, right? At the Jags,
Yeah, at the Jags.
after coming off 2 losses to the Bengals and the Browns back to back, right?
Yeah. And Baltimore's great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I mean, Jacksonville doesn't play well at home, so. But in our eyes, I mean, that's a good team, Jacksonville. Hopefully that they can take that, fucking win that game. Then they have to go to San Francisco.
That's it,
I'm going to
yeah.
mark that as an L. Then they have the Miami Dolphins at home.
Right.
That's not an easy game. And then they have the Steelers, which that's a rivalry.
It is.
So if they fucking run the table there, good on them.
Sure.
But we just need them to win 2 of any of these games.
Their opponents.
Yeah, any of these games, and then we have the tiebreaker
Right.
because we beat Indianapolis
Right. And
we beat and if they lose to San Fran and we beat San Fran,
right.
which I think they will. That's in San Francisco.
So let's say they lose to San Francisco, right? Let's say the Browns run the table, and I'm not saying we will.
very possible.
Right.
'Cause our schedule lines up quite well in my eyes.
Bears, Houston, Jets, Bengals.
Yep, and to me, the two Houston's going to be tough. But if C.J. Stroud's not playing that game, there's no reason you shouldn't go in there and win. And I don't think we've ever lost a Thursday night game at home, even when we were shitty. Mm-hmm. So,
I mean, Davis Mills, to his credit, he can run that offense.
oh yeah, I mean it's not going to be a pushover, but defensively they don't scare me.
And I worry about the Browns. The Browns, once again, getting another win at home. Hopefully another win this Sunday at home. Look great at home. The road, not great. I mean, we can probably be in agreement. The Browns' road record right now is not.
No.
It's less than stellar.
Well, and I watched put it in perspective. Quincy Carrier, shout out to him.
Mm-hmm.
Great YouTube show. If you
Yeah,
want
Q.
to look at his stuff. You know, the games on the road that we've had this year, we've basically gone on the road and played each team on the road at their best point in the season.
Yep.
The Broncos, the Rams. What are the other road losses that we
Seattle.
Seattle. They
With
were playing
P.J.
well.
Walker.
With P.J. Walker in a game that we could have won, should have won.
Colts, which we ended up winning that game,
Ended
but
up winning that
P.J.
game.
Walker.
And they gave up yards, but they still made plays to keep us in.
We could have won that Seattle game.
Should have won it. Didn't. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. The Rams,
We were in it until the
we
end.
were in it. I mean,
But
the
the
score,
defense still didn't play well.
Yeah, that's correct. Denver.
Defense. I think they gave up over 200 yards rushing.
Right.
You're not going to win a game doing that.
Right. So,
But Houston doesn't run the ball. I think that's the biggest. If this defense does well against the run, they don't have to be road graders against the run, but if they do well enough to make the other teams throw, good luck.
right.
Our corners, our pass rush, they're going to make a play at some point.
So, not to look ahead too much, but I mean, we got to take care of business this Sunday
Right,
with
but
the Bears.
and
The Bears are riding high. I'm gonna throw this out
not
there.
going to be an easy game, but in Cleveland,
In Cleveland, though, I mean, I
don't see it
just
happening. That's why I said everybody was all down about after those 2 weeks. Like, no one, Jacksonville's going to come in here and they're going to lose. I said it before the game started. We're winning this game.
right.
We just play very well at that stadium right now. We have home field advantage. It's loud every time I go up there.
Right.
I'll be up there Sunday, so be feeling rough on Monday. But
You lucky bastard. All right. Anything else you want to kind of include on this?
no, I mean,
The other element when you're talking about the Bears is obviously Justin Fields running the ball.
yeah,
and
and that
containing
can
him.
always ruin a game. But
It
I think with, people were, even Russell Wilson, he only had like 34 yards rushing.
He's not
He just-
Justin Fields,
no.
though. He's not the youngster that Justin Fields is.
No, but I don't see with the athletes like JOK, Miles, Zadarius that are on the edge. He might break one, but I don't see him just gashing us continuously over and over again on Sunday. He's going to have to beat us through the air, and that'll have to be DJ Moore because they're literally like one of the best connections in the league.
Which is questionable. He'll play.
Oh, he'll play.
He's going to play.
But if we have Denzel out there, even if we don't have Denzel out there, I think MJ and
you putting Emerson on him?
Yeah.
If Denzel's not playing? Yeah. I mean, Newsom's not. He's
not
not getting
tier.
that guy.
He's not that tier. No.
Yeah, he's not that guy. So,
He
yeah. I
played well last week.
Yep, he did. Although some previous weeks, we were saying, what
Got
the
cut
fuck?
up. Yeah. Well, last year Denzel had his worst year of his career. Now he's one of the best corners in the league again. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, I mean, he has the ability to play at a high level, but I'm putting MJ Emerson on him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, make them beat him because he's very
The third
tough.
round pick from Mississippi State, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a find. Andrew Berry.
Andrew Berry, winning
All time.
You'll be tired of winning.
Okay. All right. Let's get around to some other things here. Want to talk about, let's go ahead and talk about Joe Flacco, though, and the deal he just signed this week. It's not exactly $4 million, which who gives a fuck if it was straight $4 million.
Right.
So it's what is it again? You told me it was $75,000 per win regular season, which we have 4 games
Yeah,
left.
whatever his base salary is, I think it's under $1 million.
Right. He's getting $75,000 guaranteed.
No, he's getting $75,000 per win. In the regular season.
Okay.
And then you get to the postseason. Wild card round is $250,000.
Okay.
If they win, divisional round is $500,000 if they win, and AFC title game, they win that, he gets $1 million. Super Bowl is $2 million.
Everything's so we're hoping Joe Flacco does his thing.
I hope he makes $4 million.
Oh, I do. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And of course, then you're going to have all the.
I wonder if they. So if they do win the division, I want everybody to know this. If they win out, they get home field advantage. They have the tiebreaker against Kansas City, they have the tiebreaker against Jacksonville, and they have the tiebreaker against Miami-like opponents. I believe, unless Miami would finish with a better record, which they can.
They can.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
I mean, we're still hoping for that Baltimore loss. So.
Yes. Yeah.
Do we have to be? I mean,
it's
shit's going to. I mean, as the weeks come on here.
This is an under, like, I think it's at 9% for them to win the division. 1 seed's probably like 6. But to be a Browns fan and actually see this and have, I mean, God, dude, like I said, I've had fun all year with this team. If you can't enjoy it, I don't know what else you want. You know? All these injuries, it's been insane.
Lowered expectations then.
Yeah, I mean, it has, but it's still, I mean, hell, I could see this team going on a run.
Okay. And that's really what it takes in the playoffs, though. And
Just get there.
Even last year when we were talking about going to this playoff scenario, it's really the team that's really hot at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So can the Browns be that team? And that's really what you're hoping for.
If Flacco keeps playing well and the offense still looks good, and if the defense can just not have any more season-ending injuries.
Please.
And, once you get into the playoffs, you can get Grant Delpit back. We're going to get Juan Thornhill back, not this week. I would assume next week. He's not on IR.
McLeod going then?
McLeod's out for the year. But if you
Or
can
not
get those...
McLeod, who's the other safety?
Hickman?
Yeah, is it Ronnie Hickman? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and they just brought up Deron Harmon, who's a Super Bowl winner, too.
The depth on the team, though, is what you want, right?
Yeah, and Ronnie Hickman. Who looks like Ronnie Harrison out there.
High State?
Yeah. He had like a 72 PFF grade this week. And that's undrafted free agent, rookie.
Right.
So they have depth everywhere, but it can only fucking withstand so much. You can't have that many more injuries at this point. But just 1-0 each week. If they could win this week, you go to 9-5, and you're basically cementing a playoff berth at that point. I mean, I think we both think that we're going to beat the Jets at home.
We're hoping, but Thursday night at home against that team, I would mark that up as a win unless something fluky happens. Baker coming back, leads to victory.
Yeah. Double pump faking it.
Like the initial Baker game.
Yeah.
Which we were all pumped for. I mean,
Yeah.
just because we're so thirsty.
Well, fuck yeah, we needed to win.
I mean, I'm more thirsty than like Tyreek Hill's paternity suits.
I mean, yeah, I'm thirsty too. What are you, my sponsor?
All right. What do we want to get in here? Should we get into the game last night?
I mean,
You want to get into that, the whole ball of wax? Or, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here.
well, how about this? How about before we get into that?
Yeah.
Just to the end of the Brown stuff going forward. You know, Miles last week going on in the podium, bringing up him getting literally raped every play.
Right.
When Blake Hance came in for them at left tackle, it was blatantly obvious, more so than it usually is.
Right.
But you know, I think, and I got caught up in this too a couple times with him, like the TJ Watt stuff. People have to hold him to stop him from getting to the quarterback.
Right.
And to me, it's bullshit because you have the option to double team, triple team him.
Right.
If we scheme something to the point where he's one-on-one and he gets held, it should be called.
Right.
That's why he was drafted number
Well,
one overall.
Something that lines up with this, I think, too, is all the people that hate on LeBron James for flopping. Well, LeBron James fucking flops because
He gets fucking destroyed.
he's right. He is not getting the calls that he should get because the guy is 6'9", 265.
Right.
Okay, if the NBA would call it right down the line, this is just like Myles Garrett.
Right.
You're not getting the calls because you're Myles Garrett and you're fucking huge and you're awesome.
Right.
Same with LeBron.
Well, and it's not even as it is that he's huge, but it's also that he's that size and that fast. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, and I get it. If it's just a plain, but like they're literally grabbing a hold of him from behind,
Right.
putting him in a headlock, and he's on that 2-point conversion play. He got a sack.
Yes.
While he was being held,
Right.
and that's happened numerous times in his career.
Right.
I mean, there has to be a little bit better officiating when it comes to that because over the last 5 years, there's definitely been games that would have went the other way if they would have called some of those holding calls. It's fucking bullshit.
I mean, one play is not deciding the game, right?
no, but 6, 7, 8 of them.
But it kind of does.
But it kind of does.
It kind of does.
kinda
I
does.
mean, you don't want to you don't want to blame shit like that.
Well,
But
and when
then
it's
again,
over and over and over and
Right.
over again, you know,
Right.
missing one call, I'll be pissed and it sucks. But like to see it over, it's just
to get back to the LeBron thing, I mean, is Miles just going to start throwing his fucking hands up like what the fuck, calling for a flag?
he needs to get better. at
I
selling it.
think he needs to. If you want to call a Miles flop, go ahead. Do what the fuck you want to say, but he's not getting fair calls. I agree.
No, it's horseshit.
Right.
It's absolutely horseshit. But we can move on after that. Go into the. Do you want to go into the Kansas City Buffalo debacle, or do you want to go?
What do you want to do? You want to go? Yeah, we can. We can. Yeah,
'Cause
sure.
I feel like the Chargers game might as well be our Crying Jordan segment.
We could throw some up here too. All right, so we'll go ahead into the Kansas City. So last Sunday afternoon, of course, you had the Bills traveling to Kansas City. Kansas City's offense has not looked that great
All year.
all year. Oh my goodness! Look at Mahomes. Hasn't looked that great. What I didn't really trust though. God, the Bills on the road.
Right. Especially after everything that came out with McDermott.
Yes, McDermott, and basically talking up his boys to be terrorists, if you want to call it that.
Go get your flight lessons.
Yeah, right. Put me in an aircraft modulator, turn it on. So I didn't really trust. I thought the line was wrong last week.
What was the line on that
The
game?
line ended up being Kansas City -1.5 at game time.
Wow.
And I thought that the line was wrong. Betting wise, I thought it was an incorrect line. I had people like, Mark Wade, was telling me though that the line probably wasn't wrong. I didn't believe it. Of course, it came down to the play at the end or with inside of a minute. Kadarius Toney,
Right.
just blatantly lining up off sides, throwing the ball, or Patrick Mahomes ends up throwing the ball to Kelsey, throws it back across the field to Toney, who runs it in for a touchdown.
Right.
The flag was thrown before all of that shit happened. But yeah, here we have Mahomes, and surprisingly, even Andy Reid. That's what really surprised me about the whole thing was the sword you're going to die on.
Well, yeah.
Is Andy Reid. I mean, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Well, for sure.
I mean, Mahomes probably is going to be too. He's trending that way.
Already.
Okay. But Andy Reid's going to be a Hall of Famer.
For sure.
He's.
What he did in Philly and there, it's.
But do you want your legacy as Andy Reid? Do you want to go to the podium and then you want to go ahead and blame the ticky-tackness of...
Well, with that play, so if that same play call happened and they threw an incompletion, are you freaking the fuck out? No. You're freaking the fuck out is because you scored a touchdown on that play.
Right.
And guess what? He was offsides. He didn't check with the line judge.
Which
It's
is
a penalty.
very, very fucking important. And because Kadarius Toney's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
He doesn't check. He doesn't do the basic thing that a wide receiver should do.
Every
you
time.
can see him looking into the fucking ball.
Well, he
never
looked
looks
over,
out to the ref.
He looked
never,
out to the ref for like a half a second.
But did you ever see him check to the ref?
He never went like this. And if you do this...
The ref will tell you you're good or not good.
Right.
And the ref, you kind of think to yourself, well, the ref is like, yeah, well, fuck you for not checking with me.
Well, and he threw the flag as soon as the ball was
yeah.
snapped. Which they've been getting away with putting their fucking offensive lineman a half yard too far behind the sitter.
Yes.
All year. And nobody wants to fucking say anything about that. But, yeah, and not only complaining about it, but the way they complained about it.
Absolutely.
Fucking Mahomes just...
In the footage of Mahomes going up to Josh Allen midfield immediately after the game is all you need to know. And I should have brought that footage up if you guys haven't seen it already. Just an absolute terrible look. Josh Allen just looking at Mahomes after Mahomes is coming across there, still bitching as they're still bitching as they're shaking hands midfield, and Josh Allen's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, how many times?
And just pats Mahomes on the shoulder.
Well, and how many times Josh Allen's been screwed,
Fucked.
Or how many times they played together against each other in the playoffs?
Yes.
Like, come on, dude.
And
have some fucking class.
And Josh Allen, I will give him, and whether he's a turnover machine, and we've talked about him being a turnover machine. I've never not heard Josh Allen not own the moment.
Right.
When he goes to the press conference, and whether it's a broken record, he's like, yeah, I need to be more smart about it. When the fuck are you going to be more smart about it, Josh? Because you're costing your team fucking wins.
Well, yeah.
Because you think you're a goddamn cowboy. Not the Dallas Cowboys.
I seen how their season was going to go this year when they played the Jets, and Rodgers went down, and he was just slinging shit.
Yeah.
That's the same guy had, 3 interceptions that game, or 4?
Yes, he had at least 2. I know the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to go ahead and go to midfield where you're just going to shake and whatever. How many times has Josh Allen went to the midfield to shake Patrick Mahomes' hand
after a loss,
after a fucking L?
Yeah.
And then it's fine. You don't see Josh Allen
yelling that shit at him.
They're saying, "Oh, that's the most bullshit call ever." Bullshit call ever had. Insert fucking Kermit there.
Right.
I mean, not to beat that fucking dead frog to death, but I will. But just horrible.
Yeah, my respect level went down a lot. Because
the whole NFL, this could tarnish your legacy at this point if you're Patrick Mahomes. And I was doing the same thing with Reed.
Well, to me, how did he not just get ejected when he was yelling at the refs on the sideline?
Well, I don't. You know me tell you how? AB in the fucking Gatorade bottle jug. That's how. The NFL is not going to throw Patrick Mahomes out of the game. I was going to say this too. and I was talking about it earlier this week. Mahomes, I was definitely on the path that Mahomes and Reed were both going to get NFL fines come Monday morning.
Right.
And it didn't happen. It still hasn't happened. And Miles, it hasn't happened. And I was just waiting
Well, because they
for
know
Miles to
is
fucking
right.
get one.
Right.
And fucking Reed and Mahomes don't get one.
Well, Reed and Mahomes right now are the faces of the league. So
Right. The State Farm poster fucking children in the league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Miles would definitely have a problem if he's getting fined. I mean, he might come over there and just, fucking half-head both of those dipshits.
Right.
Well, and I love Andy Reid. I do. But, man, what a bad look.
Did you see Stefanski getting questioned about that?
No, I did not.
Oh, and
What did Stefanski say?
He's like, but he's like, before every game, we tell the refs to look at him. He's like, every game, it's the same thing. He's like, we've been living in this world for 4 years since I've been here. So there's, Stefanski's taking the route of, there's nothing we can do about it. But he's like, yeah, I get the frustration.
Right.
We see it. He's like, you see it. Everyone sees it. I mean, it's something that me, you, Painter have been saying for fucking 4 years now.
Right.
Like, you don't have to call the little tic-tac, but when it's blatant, when the guy's helmet's almost getting ripped off,
Right.
fucking call the goddamn flag, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some sense of, he's out there doesn't mean he's a fucking cyborg. He's a human being.
Right.
If he's better than the guy across from him, that's not his problem.
That's not his fault at all.
Isn't that why you pay him a bunch of money?
Right.
I don't remember Javon Curse getting fucking, strangled and his helmet getting ripped off.
Right.
And I think a little bit of it comes to how they're protecting these quarterbacks because they know if they let him run loose, he's just going to destroy him.
Correct.
But at the same time, like, dude, if it's blatant, especially when he's getting double teamed and they're both holding on to him.
The second half of the Colts game, you're not seeing that shit. You know why? Because it's fucking Gardner Minshew over there. It's not, fucking Anthony over there.
Or Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, or Trevor Lawrence, correct.
Or your sweetheart Steelers.
Yeah, the Sunshine Boys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's an absolute, just terrible look. If you haven't lost respect for Mahomes, and now Kansas City, moving to 8-5? 8-5. Yeah, they're 8-5 now. And, you're worried about, at this point, Denver coming up from
haven't they lost like 3 out of 4 too?
It's not good. I don't know.
Yeah, Denver's only a game behind.
Right. So now you got Denver just right on their ass.
And and they beat Kansas City already, haven't they?
They did.
Yeah.
They did. So they just beat them. I think that kind of started their losing streak there.
Yeah, it did, because then didn't they lose to fucking Oakland too, or Vegas? I'm almost certain they did.
They could have. I don't know.
I mean, they're 3-1 in the division, so Denver was their only loss.
Denver's their only loss, but
I mean, hell, fucking Vegas at 6-8 right now is still not out of it.
no, mathematically, Al Michaels, rip my Al Michaels,
Yeah.
in the fucking Thursday night football shit. But for that division to be that tight, the way that Denver started the season.
Well, and just to get back to the Browns a little bit, like, if we were to get Kansas City in the first round, would you be scared? I'd actually. I would prefer that over Miami.
I'm going to tell you this. No, flip a coin, because we could talk about it.
I'm more afraid of Tyreek Hill than I am of Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
With that wide
I was
receiver
actually going to say the same thing, because
he could just pop 1 or 2 and that's the game.
I was going to say the exact same thing, because that Miami team is definitely different without Tyreek Hill. And if he's not in the conversation for MVP.
Right. Especially if he hits 2K.
Yeah. Which, stats are stats. To me.
But it's never happened.
Yes. And you're probably going to be a shoo-in at that point.
Yeah.
But to me, MVP is still MVP. Your most valuable player, because you're the most valuable player. And he's making his case because Tua is not Tua without Tyreek Hill.
Dude, if Myles Garrett can go out and get 2.5 sacks this week, he'll get his name back up and everything.
Okay. Great.
Because how does mean, LT won.
You're talking about MVP, or are you talking about Defensive
MVP.
Player of the Year?
MVP.
Okay.
Because all these quarterbacks, there's not really one that I would, other than C.J. Stroud, he's about to miss a game. Then if they lose, if they don't make the playoffs, how do you give an MVP to a guy that doesn't make the playoffs?
Right.
If we go to the playoffs, especially if we win the division, I mean, if we win 11 games, if we drop one of these,
Right.
how are you not giving that to Myles Garrett if he ends up with 17, 18
I will
sacks?
tell you this, and I was in the chat with you and Painter. How, and as much love as we are giving Stefanski right now, how is Peyton? If let's say Denver, after having the slaughter,
1-5 start. Yeah.
I mean, after having the fucking South Beach massacre,
Yeah.
like week 3, and they go on and let's say they win their division.
Yeah.
How is that guy not the coach of the year? I mean, it's tough. I mean, I probably would have to vote for, not that I have a vote.
Right.
I think I'd have to vote for Peyton. I mean,
He's up there.
they're
His
dead,
odds went up.
They're dead to rights. They're dead to rights. Nobody gave them a chance.
No, and look at their schedule here. They play the Lions this week. That's going to be tough.
Is it at Detroit?
It's in Detroit, but
Did they flex that game in? Because, I mean...
8:15.
Right.
It's tomorrow, Saturday night.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot
Start
about
playing
that.
Saturday night games in the NFL. I
That's
love
right.
Saturday night football.
Sure.
And then they play the Patriots at home. That's a win. And they play the Chargers. Who knows how they're going to respond to whoever the next coach is going to be. We'll get into the last night's game.
Right.
But that's a divisional game, so anything can happen. But you would think they could win that. And then they play the Raiders on the road, which again,
Las Vegas.
yeah. So they have a shot.
And that game could be really because of
Could
what
be for the
happened last
division
night.
winner.
It could be. I mean, what's Kansas City? What's the rest of their road look like? Probably not great.
Don't they have to play Cincinnati here at some point?
Probably.
Or did they already play? Oh. So they have the Patriots on the road. That's probably going to be a dub. Unless, win one for the Gipper.
Right.
Then they have the Raiders at home, Bengals at home, and Chargers on the road. So not horribly tough, but
Right. I gotta pull a Josh Myers here.
okay.
Entertain the folks.
Yes. Well, there's nobody left in the chat at this point, so
Why would there be?
right. Now, they've been in and out.
All right.
But as I'm here, go ahead and I don't know. There's nobody in here, so I'm not going to just talk to the void. Oh, got two people in on the profile. Yeah. Sean's taking a pee break. We were just discussing the chance that the Chiefs might lose to the Broncos in the division race. They're only a game up. If they lose one time to either the Raiders or the Chargers, which, after last night, that'd be a tall task for, Las Vegas or San Diego, whatever. But it's still open for them, just like the AFC North is still open for Cleveland. Even though I think our road's a little easier.
Okay.
I mean, not easier. We have to win every fucking game.
Right.
But, I could see Baltimore lose to San Fran, Jacksonville. Literally, I could see them losing to any team in the last 4 games they have for the rest of the year. Honestly, they should have lost that game last week. But, Baltimore has that luck.
Well, it only takes that one Lamar Jackson hit that I've been calling for forever.
Well, and it's funny because, the last 3 years he hasn't been able to finish the season, but the one time that we could win the division, he's just going to play the whole year.
Right. Perfect. Perfect. All right, let's get into the debacle that was the game Thursday night Amazon Prime game.
Yes.
Prime actually stands. Oh, Prime. Do you mean like Prime steak? Because right now it feels like it's like Prime at Golden Corral.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, that was barbecue chicken over there.
I mean, once again, Al Michaels might just fucking retire because of the shit games they keep putting on Thursday night.
Dude, Al Michaels must have fucked Roger Goodell's wife or something.
Oh, I don't know. Could have been. It's
Because like the last 3 years, he's just been like hating his life the entire time.
and both of these teams not eliminated from the playoffs, although the Chargers are probably eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. They're
Yeah.
not mathematically eliminated, but still, then you had two teams last night. I don't even know what the viewership would have been outside of, well, in Las Vegas, whatever.
Yeah. Well, Las Vegas, but even LA. I mean, there's probably more Raiders fans than Chargers fans in LA.
Yes.
I mean, I know,
Oakland, right?
Well,
Well,
Oakland.
oh, yeah, but this was in Vegas, though.
I'm just saying,
game, right.
viewership.
Yes.
That's probably the biggest.
Oh,
block
yeah.
was in LA.
They're in Mexico City.
Yeah.
You
And
know, all the
San Diego.
all the San Diego,
San Diego
all the
wins.
Raiders fans that are south of the border.
Yeah.
Did you hear that shit with Jerry Jones? I guess I heard it on the radio the other day that Jerry Jones, if he did have to move to another city, it would be Mexico City. I just
Why?
heard it like on the radio yesterday.
Why?
But I guess they just have a shithouse load of Dallas fans, like in Mexico. I thought it was like a
to move the Cowboys.
yeah, or if they had to play like I have the feeling like Jerry Jones really doesn't want to have to go and play in England or Germany next year, and he's trying to make his case to have another game in
His heart
Mexico.
meds won't let him go there.
I don't know. The altitude.
No,
I don't know what it would take.
dude. I to have it in Mexico City. Do you realize how much like fucking armed security you would need? Like that, and then all the background checks to make sure this guy isn't in one of the cartels. Because dude, they're like, oh yeah, you build stadium, you build casino, we print money.
Right. Fucking Jerry Jones and the Jones family. Just,
And he's still doing like, if your owner is doing Monday fucking radio shows, not podcasts,
right.
like that's just stupid. You imagine Jimmy Haslam doing a Monday show after every game?
From the Flying J.
Yeah. Get blown in an eyes wide shut party.
All right. Getting back to the debacle that was the Thursday night game last night. You know, Al Michaels and Herb Street thinking that they might actually have a game.
Dude, Herb Street's probably just hammered the whole time.
Probably. I mean, hell, I'd be hammered if I had to fucking announce a game with Al Michaels sharpening his goddamn steak knives so he can eat a steak dinner at halftime. But he's talking about, getting back to getting back to that game. The over-under settled at about 35.5.
And that
Got
was
bet up.
broken in the second quarter by one team.
By halftime, it was 42-0 Raiders. Just all the and what could be a better place to have it than Las Vegas, where everybody is just
Pissed.
and they're betting at the kiosks that are at the fucking
Right.
Allegiant Stadium.
Probably at every every tunnel that you go into your seats.
Right.
There's probably a kiosk there.
Right.
But the funny thing is, too, as I was watching something, there was a press conference with Brandon Staley last week, and he's like, they're like, so if you feel like that you're getting better or that you've lost your team, he's like, well, we haven't been blown out of the stadium at all this year, so, these are a lot of close games. So, yeah, I think everybody's, getting my message. And then the next week, they get fucking throttled.
Right. And I still don't understand.
He should have been fired last offseason.
Yeah. I still don't understand. Well, they had that huge lead against Jacksonville after Sunshine turned it over like 5 times the first half.
Yeah.
And he couldn't sustain
Yeah.
to get the
They
win.
just needed a field goal.
Right. But I still can't get it outside my mind that Frank Reich, although, I think that they drafted the wrong quarterback.
Oh,
we
for
both
sure.
still agree,
Well, and he didn't want.
he wanted Stroud.
Yeah.
But
Who
he
wouldn't?
wasn't going against the hedge fund manager that was
Right.
Tepper.
Well, and he's not the GM either.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I still can't believe that Staley wasn't the first coach. Actually, he was the third. But, I mean...
That got fired this year?
They got fired
Yeah,
this year because actually the news came out with Belichick earlier in the week. That, when they were... There's actually 2 teams that are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. One was Carolina, which was last week we talked about. Now the New England Patriots are eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah, it's funny. Arizona's at 3-10, still alive.
Still alive.
I mean, it's funny, but we've been there.
We've been there.
3-10, we're still alive, not mathematically
But
eliminated.
just Brandon Staley,
It's not been good there at all
no.
since the beginning. Justin Herbert is probably one of a top 5 quarterback in the league. Never won a playoff game.
And I also want to go with this too. Of course, the loss with Herbert last week. And I texted you this last night. How bad would the Chargers be if it was Brandon Staley and this fucking kid from North Dakota State or whoever the hell they bring in?
Brandon Staley is like Hugh Jackson.
Oh,
Go in there and lose us a
is it
shit
that
ton of
bad?
games.
Is it Joe Woods? That kind of guy?
Well, if Hugh Jackson had Justin Herbert, they would have at least won like 3 or 4 games a year.
But yeah, Hugh Jackson still got fired from Grambling State this year, right?
I'm like, he made that big fuss and went around with the tour he was doing, saying it wasn't all his fault and like nobody gave a shit. Now he's just out in the ether.
Right.
Nobody gives a shit.
And here's the other thing too. So the Chargers last night, you had Keenan Allen, or not? No, Keenan Allen was out. I'm sorry. You had the
Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler.
Oh yeah.
Just
This is
looked so bad. And if you would have looked at the kid from North Dakota State, looked at his stat line, oh my god.
first down.
If you would have look at the score though, 63-7.
That's like, so this is like USC playing Fresno, or not even Fresno State. They'd play better than that.
It's like New Mexico State against Auburn.
Yeah.
Which it was just a
didn't they
thrashing. Yeah, New Mexico State put the fucking thrash on them.
No, I mean, these kind of scores though are like when Alabama plays Tuskegee Central.
Right. Or the Citadel.
Or the Citadel.
Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
This
McNeese State.
This doesn't happen in the NFL. Yeah, McNeese State. Oh shit.
I will say this. I believe that the media had a big part of this. I shouldn't say a big part, but all week leading up to this game, everybody's saying, Staley's done. He's out. Well, he should have been out before, but then you had like the locker room. You lost the locker room. You're leaving, defenders are leaving guys wide open. They had a great pass. Aiden O'Connell had a great pass to Jacoby Myers. But outside of that, Devontae Adams was just having his way.
Right.
Just having his way last night.
I don't think Aiden O'Connell's a bad quarterback.
Well, he is from Purdue. Fuck that guy. So, whatever.
I'm just saying, like...
he's not Drew Brees. And when we're talking about Purdue quarterbacks.
No, I'm not even saying he's like a starting caliber
And he looks like the
quarterback.
dumbest fucking shit I've ever seen. The guy looks like he has an IQ
his
of
name's
negative
Aiden.
-10.
He's a fucking Gen Zer out there.
But the fact that
What's the over-under in his mom being a nurse? Aiden's my world.
just wearing Uggs, lining up at Starbucks.
Still getting dicked down by strangers.
Perfect. But the fact that the Chargers last night, and this is how I feel like the media really affected the whole thing, was they were calling for Staley all week after Herbert was out, after he had the fractured finger last week. Mm-hmm. And I think it really got to the locker room. And at that point, they cashed it in. And they left it, yes. They left Brandon Staley like, yeah, we're not going down with the Staley ship.
No, and
We're just disconnecting ourselves from the whole situation.
And we have
Everything's going on Staley's shoulders.
we have Brandon Staley's death caught on film here that we can play for you guys right before halftime.
Kyle Rittenhouse. This was at halftime.
Like, I'll give it to him here, man. He's got. If I was him, I would have just left.
Brandon Staley has lost a lot of weight
Yeah.
really, really quick.
Well, I'm sure you get pretty good cocaine out there on the West Coast.
Well, he's worried about, is he going to be married when he gets out?
Right. Yeah, it's
I mean, O'Connell had like 4 touchdown passes in the first half. The Raiders setting a franchise record of 63 points.
Yeah.
They really were on pace to break the NFL record, let alone the 70 that Miami put up this year.
Yeah, because it was 42-0 a half, right?
Right.
And they got 49. It was like 2 minutes into the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point is some coach just going to say fuck it and just put on the gas and just start ripping it, dude? Like, fuck putting in our backup, especially if you're 5-8. And
Right.
the Raiders ain't going to make it.
No.
I mean, they still got a shot, but it's like, dude, just go out there and fucking rip it.
Although, I heard on the Gottlieb show today, do you think that coach, Pierce, right? No, not Pierce.
Antonio Pierce?
Antonio Pierce.
I think he should get the job next year.
Yeah. And he's saying that the Raiders are going to overcorrect
As in,
because of the interim coach during the Gruden tenure.
oh, yeah.
And the
who did
Raiders are
well.
going to overcorrect,
Yeah.
and they're going to go ahead and hire this guy as their head coach for next year.
I don't think it's an overcorrection. I think if you're in that position again and you're having a guy that, I think one of my favorite things about Stefanski with this year, I mean, obviously last year was turmoil. The year before that was a lot. They still didn't blow it out and lose every game going down the stretch. If your coach has the locker room, that's 70% of it. And the other 30% is the X's and O's and the play calling. Those guys are playing for him and they like him.
Right.
And he's a competent play caller or a competent, they have a good program there. Why would you not go with that? Because
I love the post game though with Pierce in the tunnel. So I was watching it last night.
that.
Oh yeah. So I was watching it though, and of course Pierce came. He basically said he's not letting off the gas going into the second half.
Well, he's the next player.
Right. So getting back to the whole Tomlin thing and
Let's get everybody their
whatever.
bonuses, their stats.
Yeah, right. But they were just showing him in the tunnel, which you never see this. Him just high-fiving coaching staff, high-fiving players, all that thing. I mean, all that shit. The NFL in the tunnel just trying to put, hype this guy up. And I'm not saying he's not a great coach. I don't know. But, I mean, the fact that if you're the NFL and you're just propping this guy up by showing him in the tunnel, just stop. It was so fucking staged. It was so staged.
Was it?
Oh, it had to be. Because he's like in the tunnel. He's between a set of double doors. The players and the coaches. And it almost seems like the coaches were coming in there and just high-fiving him. And
Just to
they're
get on
like,
screen?
yeah, just to get on TV. And then I'm thinking to myself,
I blame ESPN, even though it's Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. It made me want to puke.
Really?
Because it was almost along the lines of like the Taylor Swift kind of shit, and them showing all that bullshit all year long.
That's why I Al Michaels apparently isn't going to be doing playoff games.
Right.
I mean, he's got the wrong end of the stick. He probably wishes he would have stayed on Sunday night instead of Thursday.
Right.
That's literally the worst games of the week every year.
Every week.
Unless it's Browns Bengals or Steelers
Unless
Ravens.
Collinsworth's on the mic, right?
Oh Jesus! Oh, here's a guy.
Here's a guy. Right.
I seen him bang my wife last night.
All right, let's get into some Belichick news, though. Of course, Staley's out. Belichick, being the Patriots now officially eliminated from the playoffs, at least Bob Kraft and family decided to give him his due.
Which, I've never, especially with a guy with that kind of tenure, what's the point firing him in the middle of the year?
No, you're right. You're right. Because who's going to take over? Fucking butt chin?
Bill Cowher?
Yeah. No, not that guy. The guy from Houston. The guy from Houston's the OC.
Bill O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, well, either him or his favorite defensive coordinator there.
or his fucking son that's calling defensive plays.
He's got a fucking mullet.
Looks like John Daly and reincarnate.
Just with a lot more chew.
Right. So.
End of an era.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
That's a 2-decade dynasty.
Yeah.
I'm not a Patriot fan, but I mean, you can't knock what they were able to do for 20 years.
Right.
I mean, they won 11, 12, 13 games a year all the time.
Right.
And, even when he was here in Cleveland, if you watch those videos of him with Nick Saban and that coaching staff that they had here, which, being a Browns fan, it was like, what could have been?
What could have been. Yep.
Always was able to cultivate a great defense. I think what fucked him here in New England at the end was not having Tom Brady and not having a successor for him.
Right.
Which
he was trying to get in line, though, right?
Yeah, he was, but I also think, too, was his not a GM, has not drafted well in the last 12 years.
He hasn't.
So, you can only get past that so long. And with, not drafting well, they're able to bring in free agents because, everybody, the Patriot way, you had a shot to win it every year.
So here's the question of the day, though. So you have Chicago with all these picks, all this money. Okay, Justin Fields just kind of doing his thing. Been injured this year. Chicago has Carolina's pick. And then you have the Chargers. Established quarterback. A defense that should be much, much, much better than what they are.
They have plenty of talent.
Plenty of talent. I mean, between Derwin James and
Joey
Khalil
Bosa.
Mack and Joey Bosa when he plays.
Right.
Where are they going? I mean, so here, everybody, the question of the day is, where's Belichick going to go? Is he going to go somewhere else? And we looked this up before the game, and this is the most concrete thing to say that Belichick's going to come back.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Don Shula, all-time regular season win total is 328, and Belichick's is 301.
Yeah.
That right there, that's a great, great point. You brought it up before to bring Belichick back because he's not going to ever beat that 72 Dolphins at this point.
Had one shot at it.
One shot. Eli Manning, just
David Tyree.
just the killer.
Yeah. I do think, all right, so, and we were talking about this
And we
before
could
the
both
pod.
be wrong. I mean, we could
Yeah,
both
could-
be wrong.
could
I mean,
definitely be
Harbaugh
wrong.
can stay where he's at. I don't see it. I've been calling him for it. It's either way, however Michigan season pans out, Harbaugh is leaving. Okay. If you're the Chargers, who are you hiring? Is it Harbaugh? Is it Belichick?
I would hire Belichick if he had McDaniels as his OC.
Okay. All right.
And we both are 100% against McDaniels ever as a head coach.
Ever as a head coach.
But
Correct.
those two together
Okay.
are lethal.
All right.
With the talent they have on that defensive side of the ball, you're going to have a window of 4 years. But you're going to have to put that up against maybe bringing Jim Harbaugh, who is a defensive-minded guy.
He is.
And I think he would hire the right people to run the offense.
Okay.
He's a quarterback, ex-quarterback, so it's not like he doesn't know offense. Mm-hmm. And you have a guy there that could be there for a decade with Justin Herbert.
Right.
So you pretty much have to weigh that out. But to be able to be in that position with that talent on the defensive side of the ball and Justin Herbert, to look Bill Belichick in the face and say no.
That's tough.
That's tough.
It's very tough. I actually think the Chargers are the premier spot.
Yeah.
It's not the
but
Bears.
Ownership's going to fuck it up. Just like in Chicago.
It's not the Bears. I mean, the Bears, they got a lot of money. They got picks.
Belichick's definitely not going there.
He's not going there. I can see that, although reports are that there is some fractured ties between the GM at Chicago and Harbaugh. Although Harbaugh played for Chicago.
Well, and Eberflus seems like he's getting that team to rally around it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just, if I was Harbaugh, why the fuck would you go to Chicago?
Just like you said. So, let's say that, they bring both guys in for the interview and they say, hey, Harbaugh, we're going with Belichick. Is Harbaugh going to stay at Michigan at that point? Or is he still going to go? Remember, though, Carolina's job's out there, too.
Well, I could see him going to Chicago only because he could be like, all right, I want to get capital back for Justin Fields. We have all these picks. I can get my quarterback. The defense in Chicago seems like they're turning a corner. I think that Montez Sweat trade was a good trade.
It was.
And they re-signed him. So you have a pillar on that side already. They have T.J. Edmonds at linebacker. They have that good corner.
Yeah.
Eddie Jackson as a safety. They have pieces there.
They do. And they haven't wanted to sell off any of their pieces. They've wanted to add to the defense side of the ball. The problem with Chicago is the offensive line's always really, really been an issue. So now you have two defensive-minded coaches. You're going to bring McDaniels in. When McDaniels go to Chicago as the
Harbaugh?
OC.
With Harbaugh?
Well, not with Harbaugh, right?
Belichick,
right?
I don't see Belichick going to Chicago.
I don't either.
Belichick's 72 years old. If he's going to go anywhere, it's going to be somewhere with an established quarterback.
Correct.
I'm not saying this happens. What happens in Minnesota?
True. Very true.
Even with he can win with a Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and Belichick's like, yeah, I'm not wearing fucking hoodies anymore. I get to play in a dome.
Right. Or maybe he wants to. I'm trying to think of any other team that would really be viable for him.
Tampa?
The Jets. Or they say, fuck off, Robert Saleh.
Yeah, but Saleh's not. Nah.
I like Saleh.
Yes, I do too.
If you're the Jets,
Saleh's not. No.
If you're the Jets.
What, you think
with that defense?
What, you think Rodgers is going to team him up with
an
Belichick?
A-Rad.
They're going to team up with a Belichick?
You think Rodgers would say no to that?
No, he wouldn't.
Because he's only got a few years left at the most.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. Maybe 1. That Bill, guy that's done it multiple times, Saleh's not proven.
Well, and I think Bill, this is a great point you're bringing up because I think Bill secretly has kind of talked about Rodgers a little bit. Yeah. I mean,
I think they have a mutual respect.
Right.
I mean, so is there any other teams that you're thinking of?
There's a lot of teams out there.
Raiders.
You're going to have the Black Monday. Nah, that's not happening. I don't see it. I think Mark Davis is. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think Mark Davis is a dipshit. I think they're gonna. Could they bring in a coach to make a splash there? I mean, with that,
I still think they stay with Pierce.
I agree with Gottlieb on that. Well, when I heard him talking about it, I think, and whether you believe it's an overcorrection or not, because it didn't happen last year.
Well, fuck. What about
I could
Gruden?
see Mark Davis doing that.
What about Gruden coming
Yeah,
back?
who knows? Because that's still some shit going on.
They still
there.
love each other.
Yeah, but Gruden's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna go back to Raiders, even if all this shit comes about.
I've been waiting for this news.
The other thing is too, you got Washington in you kind of have them in the mix.
That might be a Belichick destination.
It could be.
Because that's
could be.
what, 4 hours away from
Yeah.
Foxborough?
Yeah.
I mean, but I would say it'd be a better spot if they didn't trade away Sweat and Young.
Right.
So they're kind of, I don't know what the fuck Washington's doing.
Well, and we talked about this too. I mean, Washington's really after picks.
They are, but why the hell they traded Chase Young for a third round pick? And I understand he hasn't been healthy, so I get it.
And Montez Sweat.
Well, he probably wasn't going to sign.
And it's a pick.
Yeah, and it's a pick.
Yeah. I mean, they're really blowing it up at Washington.
Yeah.
Rivera's going to be out.
They're probably gonna hire somebody like the Texans did. You know, let him lose for a year, then they'll even get a better pick the next year, and then move on from there. Even though their quarterback seems like he's
Sam Howell.
okay. I mean,
Well, he just gets sacked a lot because
Yeah.
their offensive line's terrible.
yeah.
So,
But anywhere else you think Belichick could go? I'm trying to think, NFC North. I said Vikings. That's a long shot. NFC East. You said Washington.
what if he goes to Dallas? I mean, what if Mike McCarthy just fucks up the season, and I know they're having the season now, and rip me.
What if they get blown out in the first round?
Right. McCarthy's still there. I mean, Jerry
I wouldn't.
Jones licking his chops. He's like, I got Belichick over here. I mean, I can go get him. I can go get him.
Well, and you know how Jerry is. I mean, shit, he ain't getting any younger.
No. He's just like Belichick.
If I was him, I would put serious consideration into it.
Here's the other thing, too.
Giants.
Yeah.
Go back to the Giants.
Wow. Yeah, Dable not having a great season.
No, but the Italian quarterback there is kind of saving
Yeah,
his job at the
DeVito,
moment.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny
But
DeVito.
why would he go there?
Love the guy on Taxi.
But, but why would he go there? Do you have that contract for
Daniel Jones.
Yeah. So that's going to prohibit you from doing everything you want to do.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be
I don't
there.
think DeVito's the long term answer there.
No.
NFC South.
Well, he's not going to be the
Atlanta.
answer. Yeah.
I still think they're going to give him more leeway there. They haven't been god awful.
Well, and I think the same thing. I mean, Salah's going to get a
Tampa?
pass. Tampa would be. That's a great point. I think Tampa could be. He going to want to come in behind Brady though, and like Bruce Arians.
Well, if he would also win one there, that might make his little Chubb hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could win there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't see anywhere in the NFC West. He's not going to Arizona. McVay ain't leaving. And Pete Carroll might die, but that'd be the only way. And, Shanahan ain't going nowhere.
Right.
AFC North, Pittsburgh.
Nah. No.
Tomlin gets fired.
Although, but
God,
the Rooney family's
I would
not.
hate to see that so fucking
Oh,
much.
yeah, but the Rooney family's not going to do that just because of their history with coaches.
Yeah,
They're
they
not
want to get.
doing
If
it.
they're going to fire Tomlin, they're going to get somebody young that's going to be there for 20 years.
They're going to get like Eric Bieniemy type, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe go like. Although the history shows that they hired defensive coaches, right?
Defensive special teams, Cowher,
Tomlin.
Tomlin.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see. No, that's not happening.
So nowhere in the AFC North. East, I said maybe the Jets, but that's about the only place.
He's just pulling a Ryan Fitzpatrick, just going to start circulating around the end.
Well-
Oh, here we go. McDermott.
Buffalo.
Wow. Think about that. Fuck Bob Kraft.
Yeah. You have Josh Allen.
Got Josh Allen.
Von Miller.
Yep.
They got some pieces on defense.
Yeah, they got pieces.
Yeah. Especially if they don't make the playoffs, which I don't think they will.
Buffalo, not 7-6.
I mean, they need help. AFC South. Titans.
Tennessee and Vrabel just
Vrabel
switch
go.
spots?
Yeah. I don't see that happening though.
No.
I mean, Will Levis does look good. Well,
Arm strength, horrible. Decision making, bad.
Texans, no, they're doing. D'Amico Ryans is nice.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryans. Yeah, he's a guy. He's a guy.
Indianapolis, not going to happen. He's actually should be in the
Steichen.
running.
Yeah,
running
you're
for
probably
Coach
right.
Of the year. He's done a
Stan
hell of a
Steichen,
job.
yeah.
AFC West, Raiders, no. Obviously not the Chiefs. And Broncos, no. So yeah, I think Jets might be a sneaky pick.
Really? Okay. All right.
Because that's a
Nobody's talking about the Jets.
when you trade for a 39-year-old quarterback at that point, you give up all that, you need to have a return on investment.
Right.
You know, we traded for a quarterback, but we have another 10 years of him.
Right.
You know, hopefully.
Not Flacco.
But
Testaverde.
you know, he wants to get the wins record, I think, and you pair him with Aaron Rodgers and with the Jets have good defense.
Yes.
He can mastermind that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You could keep Hackett there. He likes Hackett. I don't think Bill would give a fuck.
Right.
And talk about shoving it to New England
Oh.
to be a Jet.
Well, I was saying the same thing with the Bills.
It'd be a second time. I mean, it's been fucking 23 years since he said go fuck yourself.
I mean, Tom Brady, like one of the all-time wins against a franchise was the Bills.
Yeah.
Then you go to the Bills.
Yeah, the Bills-
McDermott's out.
Yeah.
You go there, and then
I
they
think
just
Bills or Jets. If I was him, why wouldn't he?
They start leveling the field.
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Those are two really good spots for him.
Right. I really like the Bills. I like the Bills.
That's probably even a little bit better than the Jets because
Might be better than the Chargers, right?
well, yeah, because their ownership is just god awful.
Right. They're kind of a family-oriented
Well,
ownership.
and
there,
I
too.
think Buffalo, their ownership is shown to be pretty.
I mean,
pretty smart the
unless
last
he's
10
just like
years.
fuck it, and I don't want to go to the cold anymore, and I want to wear like
the Chargers.
sleeveless fucking t-shirts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and go out there and basically be in retirement, but keep racking up wins.
Right.
There's no reason he can't win 9 to 10 games a year there with that roster.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right, let's get into this a little bit. So there's a guy that we started following on TikTok. I'm gonna go into the Ohio State quandary. I want to bring this guy out. I'm gonna give him a shout out. He goes by the handle Rico Knows. This guy is absolutely really, really sharp when it comes to college football, especially. He did some shit with Georgia football. I want to bring this guy up, though. He goes by Rico Knows. Go ahead and play it.
Frankie says, any clue on what quarterback is transferring to Ohio State? Seen a couple of vids and they won't disclose who it is. Curious. Well, I got some clues. I'm going to tell you right now. It's this dude right here. I think Caleb Williams has never played in a playoff game. He wants to be considered one of the all-time greats, so he's got one more shot at this thing. But he wants to go to a team with an amazing defense. So he's going to jump in the portal. They're going to pay him like $10 million, and he's going to Ohio State. He doesn't want that NFL draft money. He doesn't want to be a Bear or a Cardinal or a Fader. Nah, he wants to be a Buckeye. The weird thing is I think USC wants to replace him with Will Howard, which is nuts. I think USC should be interested in Cam Ward. Ohio State should be interested in Dante Moore and Caleb Williams. There's really no other upgrade. You guys know I'm not big on freshmen starting quarterbacks, so no, I'm not waiting for Air Nolan to show up. I'm not even excited about Lincoln Kienholz. Nah, I think Ohio State's got the big bag, and they're grabbing this dude right here. Or they're taking a starter in the spring, like a team starting quarterback in the spring. You guys got to be patient, man. There's a long offseason. We see moves all the time. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Give me Quinn Ewers back to Ohio State, or Jackson Dart.
All right. So nobody's really talking about this, but this guy, Caleb Williams, was definitely an underwhelming year. And everybody who's been talking about Caleb Williams is going to be the number 1 overall pick. Been talking about it all season long. Now there's talk of Drake May. There's probably going to be some other asshole that's going to get thrown up there like, what the hell's is that dipshit from that the Niners picked that Shanahan. Speaking of GM picks, he's now in Dallas.
Yeah. Trey Lance.
And Zach Milson, same draft. So, but this guy's really, really sharp about things. Been following this guy for a while. It's whether this is going to be a thing, if he's just throwing shit out there. Go to Rico Knows at TikTok. I really like him a lot. But think about this. We talked about it. Marvin Harrison Jr. hasn't committed to the NFL yet. Travion Henderson has not committed to the NFL yet. There was information that Cam Ward could be coming to Ohio State. They're saying because he has 1 year left of eligibility. But Caleb Williams, if he would come to Ohio State where they actually have a defense,
right,
and you pair him up with Marvin Harrison Jr.
and
Travion Henderson,
better talent around him than he's ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
is it a pipe dream?
We've dogged him. Yeah, it's a pipe dream. We've dogged on him, but
yeah,
at the same time, I know what he could do with this offense.
Oh yeah, and the fact that USC was losing games, that's because they're getting beat by
46-49.
Yeah, they're getting beat because there's no defense.
Right.
That USC, and say what you want about Lincoln Riley, that's fine, but there's no defense there.
No.
So.
Well, and hell, were they 7-5 this year?
Yeah.
God, talk about underachieving.
Right. So if this guy's right, and it is a possibility that Caleb Williams and Titus on Barstool was talking about it too, that he knew some inside information, but he couldn't divulge it. Now, I think if it was going to be Cam Ward, he probably would have just looked at Brandon Walker and said, "Yeah, it's I got it great standing. That's going to be Cam Ward," but he said he could not divulge the information.
Well, and this is a big one because this is a guy that could go number 1 overall,
right?
Number 2 overall, depending on who comes out. This would absolutely, if I was the Bears, I'd be so fucking pissed if Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison did not come out.
Right. Right.
Because that would ruin your whole draft board at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it would probably ruin your trade leverage to some extent.
Well, at that point, are the Bears, because I still feel like the Bears are going to get a quarterback. And, you and I talked about Justin Fields, where he may go.
But
I think Atlanta's the place. I've been saying that. And I think Atlanta's the place.
That's the perfect place for him.
The guy's from Georgia. He gets to play in a dome.
Well, and I think their coach there, he's offensive minded.
Mm-hmm.
Similar into what Stefanski does, but he's he is a athlete at the quarterback position. I think they'd get a lot out of him. And it would be a good pick. They would run that division for the next 3 to 4 years.
I would think. Yeah. Of course, we said the same thing with Derek Carr when they signed him in the offseason, too, with the Saints.
Yeah.
They run the division. He has been banged up all season.
Yeah. And they're still right there.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't take much to be there because Tampa would win the division today.
Mm-hmm.
They will win with like a 6-7 record. They still losing record to win.
Oh,
that
and they're
division.
not going to have winning record. Who do that?
So,
play?
Say what you want, whether this is going to be a real thing or not. It could be speculation, but this guy's been on the right side of a lot of stuff, and he's very, very sharp when it comes to college football. So, Titus, Rico knows. We're on you, buddy. We'd love to see it.
Good take. Yeah, I mean, I think it's be very interesting how fast McCord went into the portal and how slow it's been to hear Marvin Harrison Jr.'s decision to go to the NFL. And like you said, Henderson. I mean,
something's in the works.
Something's up.
Something's definitely up.
And, people are offering Marvin Harrison $25 million to come back. Why would you not?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And is that really true, or is that just a rumor? I mean, this guy, Rico's saying, Ohio State's got the bag.
I mean, even if it's 15.
But we know this.
That's for 1 year.
Marvin Harrison, though, he wants to beat Michigan.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams wants to be in the college football playoff. Everything makes sense. It's lining up. It's lining right up.
Well, and I think
another reason for fucking Harbaugh to get the fuck out of town.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Good luck. I mean, they skated by beating us in the big house this year.
Right.
With probably the worst quarterback we've had in over a decade.
Oh, also Kyle McCord, that's been squashed now too. The Kyle McCord in Nebraska, he's not going there. Rumors
Was he
are
going UMass?
Yeah, he should. Miami is. I'm hearing rumors of Miami. You know,
the same thing.
it's not the U of old.
No.
Okay, but
which I would actually really enjoy them being legitimate.
Oh, I would too. You know, and
you know, them and Florida State should be a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Fuck Florida, but them two should definitely.
Yeah, fuck Florida for sure. Fuck him. Fuck Steve Spurrier.
Right.
Danny Werfel. Fuck them.
All of them.
All of them. I don't know. We'll see if this if this comes to fruition.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
You would think it's been long enough.
Why is this guy the only one that's really talking about this?
Hopefully,
he doesn't need clicks.
Right.
This guy is legit. He doesn't need clicks. I mean, everybody wants to build a channel, and I get that. But he's been right on so many things up to this point, and I've researched it back.
That's a weird thing in today's journalism.
Yeah.
Being right over being first.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this guy's been first, and he's been right.
Yeah. Well, and I think maybe next week we can divulge more into the Cotton Bowl and what that's going to involve, because obviously Kyle McCord's not going to be starting.
Right.
Hopefully it's not Devin Brown. If I have to see number 33 play quarterback for Ohio State, I don't care who. Just because it's Devin Brown, I don't give a fuck. Anybody wearing that number playing quarterback and it's not 1943, I'm just.
Or James Laurinaitis.
Yeah. Well, it's just, good Lord, dude. You're a fucking quarterback. Wear a quarterback number.
Right. All right. Anything else you want to bring on this pod? So I think it's pretty good. We got it pretty tight.
Yeah. Again, like and subscribe on YouTube if you could. That'd be great. And like the channel here if you haven't already on Facebook. Actually, and I think next week we should probably do this on Twitter. That should be our
okay. I'm up for that.
That should be.
We never really tout Twitter, but
yeah.
No, I'm all about it. That's fine.
I think that'll help as well.
Okay.
It hit me in the middle of this podcast.
Okay.
Because I started to get some good followers and whatever.
Good.
On Twitter.
Good. Love it. Follow RawDawgers on Twitter then. At Dogs Raw.
Dogs Raw.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we'll spit on it for you. So. But other than that, great week as always, and go Browns.
Go Browns.
And see you next week.
All right, RawDawgers out.
RawDawgers out.